Another episode of Tuesday Talk has just started. Yes. Welcome. Come on in, everyone. Come on in. Come on in. Come on in. I'm not going to sing. I had a friend who who told me, he's like, I love you, Sai, you're awesome, but please just stop singing. He hated it when I sang, but whatever. Come on in, everyone. Come on in. When you arrive, put in the chat where you are from. Come on in, everyone. We are here in our fourth season of Tuesday Talk. My teeth look so nice and white. It's from using the holistic toothpaste that I use. Come on in, you guys. I see we have some people who are here. Put in the chat where you are from. Tonight's episode of Tuesday Talk is going to be amazing. It's something that we seldom, I don't want to say seldom, but we don't talk about it enough in the Black community, and we definitely don't talk about it and speak on it enough in the Black conscious space. So this is something that we all need to be a part of and participate in, because it's what we need as individuals in order to continue forward. As you can see, the title is the Money Matters series, Healing Financial Trauma. I've been working on this with our guest for this evening for about 6 months. We talked about this last summer. Yeah. So it's been in the works for quite a while, and I'm excited for it. So put in the chat. I don't see anyone in the chat. Put in the chat where you guys are from, where you are dialing in from. And I'm going to go ahead and get started. Oh, we have Tashi. Hmt Tashi. Tashi is one of our initiates, one of our members. She's already initiated. She is a member of the Shrine of Ma'at. Tashi, which group did you come in with? I think it was Rakasashen, but it could have been Kepru Rama'at. Girl, it's been a lot of y'all. I'm not really sure. Put in the chat which group you came in with. Okay. Other people, put in the chat where you're from so we can just shout you out. I'm going to get started really soon. Jason, another member of the Shrine. Ankh abet to you as well. From Cornhusker Country. Cornhusker sounds country. So to say Cornhusker Country sounds redundant. We have DC Sinisi Taka. Hello and welcome. You are a regular on Tuesday Talk, and I want to thank you for your participation. You are in humid Miami. Put in the chat if you like the humidity. I love the humidity. It's good for your hair, because I'm natural when I'm not wearing braids. I'm natural. Welcome, Senet Cheryl Lee. She is a member of the Shrine of Ma'at from Rakasashen, and she is one of our moderators, and she's been with me since the second season of Tuesday Talk when we started going live, because we had them pre-recorded the first season. We have Tanya Sumaili, Akima Tanya, Senet Tanya. She's also a member of the Shrine. Well, I'm going to get started. I want to thank you guys for joining in, and we'll continue to welcome in family as they join. Tonight, we're going to be talking about something that we don't speak about very often in the Black community or in the conscious Black space, at least not in a way that is constant and consistent. We talk about, rap artists and athletes and Real Housewives shows and things that really don't push the needle of our collective consciousness that works on solutions for what it is that we need. Okay. So tonight we're going to talk about finances. We're going to talk about finances because we need to make sure that we are able to understand finances begin to throw ourselves into learning. It might be a little confusing at first, but it's something we have to do. There's a downside to it. We have work to do to learn it and to understand the power and the unity of our collective work. The good news is, well, we still have work to do, so I'm not trying to sugarcoat anything. However, we are not as disconnected from the last time we had an economic base. During segregation and even during Jim Crow, we did have our Black communities together. We had our Money United. We boycotted and basically bankrupted busing companies. These are the things that we are able to do when we are united, and that's not that far off. That's our parents and grandparents' generation, people who are still alive and healthy alive, who you could speak with to understand that what we're going to be speaking about tonight will require some work. It will require a hard look at ourselves in terms of how we spend our money, where we spend our money, why we spend our money. I'll just start it off by saying this. I like vegan cupcakes. I eat more cupcakes than I probably should. I'm just going to be honest. Okay. And do I need to buy a $5 vegan cupcake or two? Is that in my budget? Maybe if it's in my budget, okay. And that's kind of a silly example, but that's what gets me. So you can ask yourself, what is it that you're doing with your money that's not productive? What is it that you're doing with your money that is not helping you build? Or do you even know what you're doing with? Do you even know where your money goes? So we're going to take a brutal butt naked look at ourselves and our finances, be in your space and be vulnerable. And let's learn tonight, people. Tonight's going to be very empowering. So I am going to bring Senet, Ashley, Amara to the stage. Welcome, Ashley. Can you hear me?
Ankh, Hmt Ntr. Yes, I can.
Yay. Awesome. So tonight we have Ashley, Senet Ashley. She has a bevy of knowledge of finances and government contracts and how to grow your money, how to address issues in your money. And she just so randomly, casually started talking about it. I was like, yo, she sounds like Rakim on the mic. I'm like, you can't just be casually Rakim. Period. She's good. Okay. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce to you Ashley Amara as we begin our Money Matters series with healing financial trauma. Welcome, Ashley.
Thank you for having me. Peace, abet. Hi, everyone in the chat. Thank you so much. Thank you for hearing me out because we have our endless chats, and I'm like, and this and this and this. So tonight, yes, this is going to be a 2-part series. With the first part is going to be discussing healing financial trauma. This is actually a prototype that I created when I was in Las Vegas, and I was featured. My friend Jedi Nas, the infamous Jedi Nas, had me on her Metaphysical Mondays as a guest, and she let me present this. And so it was this as part of the lecture part, and then we had created a simulation game, which I'll talk about later. And the impact was so amazing. It was so amazing. This whole thing was a download, and the fact that I could share it and have the honest feedback of life-changing, feedback and everything just was amazing. So I'm going to share it with you tonight. So
Thank you.
Yes. So just really quickly, I listen. Like you said, we're going to have a look into ourselves. This is going to be a gentle conversation. It's going to be a loving conversation. It's going to be a safe space. We encourage, dialogue in the chat, stay, of course, on, the topic, but this is a safe space. I have to emphasize that because this is a very delicate conversation. We don't talk about this in our families, and it's so important that we start.
Yes, it is.
So yeah, so you can bring up the slides.
Bring up the slide. Okie dokie.
Yeah.
And oh, that's mine. That's me. Before we bring up the slide, just one quick question. Can you let us know a little bit about your background and how it is that you came into all of this financial knowledge?
Okay, yes. So my background is let's try to get the clip notes. I was I grew up Jehovah's Witness. I'll just be honest. And so I grew up with a very limited scope of finances, as with any Christian sect. The more extreme it is, the worse it is, you know? And so I grew up with so many misconceptions about money, that is evil, that is all of the things. And then when I phased out of that, as my story progressed, I found myself in the military. Found myself. So when I got into the military, literally it was trying to figure out life, trying to pick my life up from where that religion, you know, it kind of hid things that I needed to know to to survive. You know, if you don't have a good financial stability, you don't know. So I just went into the military, to serve and to get some understanding. And when I got into the military, of all jobs, I got a job that exposed me to government contracts, exposed me to the government procurement and acquisitions.
Mhm.
And it was such a stark contrast from what I knew of, like, spiritually money is evil. And then my environment, right? My environment being grown from inner city Philadelphia, not realizing that I was in a poverty area, and that we'll talk about that for sure, to where I'm in the military and I'm running acquisitions, $1 million here, and I'm seeing a completely different life. It opened my eyes to so much. Then a little bit further, I have my spiritual awakening, and I find myself in this space of, like, learning about African traditional religions, being in the shrine of my aunt. A light bulb went off, and I made so many connections of how, our African traditions, our African knowledge, us reclaiming that exposed me to understanding why our government is the way it is, why, all of these, systems that we think are against us are actually in our favor. If you really, hang on with me and let me explain through the slides. But, like, when I made those connections, something went off and I said, oh my God. Like,
This is awesome. Like,
yeah.
hold up. Okay.
So I can't wait to share what I have. That was just a very light, background, but, like, I can't wait to share what I have. So basically, this is healing financial trauma. And
So Ashley, I'm
Mhm.
gonna go backstage. Is that okay?
No
Because I
problem.
know some people are like, "Oh my God, you left me up here by myself." So just shoot me a text if you need me to come back. Okay, I want you to
You
have the
want to
spotlight,
have
girl.
like a conversation?
I'm sorry.
You don't want to have like a conversation?
Oh yeah, that's right. Sorry. My bad. Go ahead. Listen, y'all. I've spoken to Ashley about this so many times. Like, she does not need me. She's so good, but part of the conversation was me being involved. So my bad. I'm sorry. I was just gonna sit back and watch you go. I'm the hostess. My bad. Go ahead.
No problem. Okay, so healing financial trauma. So my background. I'm from inner city Philadelphia. I grew up in a single mother home. My mom did the best she could. That's all our story, right? Our parents did the best they could. But I know with the experience of being religious, even though I was in a Christian sect of Jehovah's Witnesses, I know we share this. If you came from Christianity, you kind of share the same story, right? Money is evil. You got to give all your money to the church. It's not modest. The kingdom of heaven is not. They distort, basically. Long story short, I'm going to name them all, but they distort a lot of scriptural texts that honestly has us in this position that we are in. It has us in a position where we have like over $1 trillion buying power, but nobody has liquid money. We don't own any natural resources as a collective. We don't have our hand in the pot. Why is that? If we are the most spiritually driven people on this planet, we still have connections to our ancient lineage in our DNA who created all of this. But why are we lacking in this area specifically? We do have the inconvenient interruption of the slavery, right? Even though that was 400 or 500 years ago, where it was actual change, physical chains, we know as we, progressed, as our ancestors got out of that situation, there was Jim Crow, there was segregation, there was all those things, and all these things compacted are basically adding to what we call what is termed financial abuse. So not unraveling all of that has us in this situation. So basically, I'm going to go and talk, give you basically the outline of what we're going to talk about tonight. Basically, part one is going to be on healing financial trauma. Can y'all all see that? I hope you can see that.
It's okay. We can hear you. We can see it a little bit, but we're going to hear you.
Okay. So the part one is going to be the healing financial trauma part. We're going to define some terms. We're going to identify the signs of financial trauma, and then we're going to talk about how to resolve financial trauma to be able to get you to a point where we can get out of this situation, at least mentally. Then part two, we're going to talk about what is money. Then we're going to talk about how money is actually spiritual. And we're going to talk about creating mental alchemy and what is money in relationship to law, or I would say universal law principles. And then we're going to talk about the mathematics of money and creating financial resources within and collectively. And in part three, we're going to go over my simulation I was speaking about earlier when we first started talking, how I put together this whole, what I'm going to talk about. And I created a game with my friend Jedi Nas, and we simulated an amazing game and helped us learn how to work with these universal principles to start making some mental shifts into your physical life. Okay, so that's what we have. All right, so defining financial trauma. Financial trauma is the emotional, cognitive, relational, and physical symptoms triggered by significant financial stressors. These stressors include poverty, homelessness, food insecurity, and unemployment, which have a lasting impact on one's mental and physical and financial health. So the reason why I want to bring terms is because, we have a culture of where, we say things, and some people with limited knowledge will just say things and will stigmatize people, or will say things like, oh, well, you just got to try harder, or they'll clown an individual because, oh, they broke or whatever, when really this situation is deeper than just, teasing someone or just, shame. It literally is physiological. This could be one of the reasons why we have the highest heart disease rates and things, and literally disease, because financial trauma is, lack of finances is lack of resources, is lack of the ability to move forward. And I'll talk about later how that goes deeper. So poverty defined, in order to understand what financial trauma is, in that definition talked about poverty. I'm going to talk about poverty because we think of poverty just because, oh, you think you're doing okay because you got your lights on, you might have some food, you might have your bills paid here and there. Sometimes it's not, but we really got to really break down the different levels of poverty and how we can really cycle through all of these, sometimes all at the same time or one at a time. So basically poverty is the state or condition. Okay, so it's like, let me pull over so I can read it. So it's the state or condition in which people or communities lack the financial resources and essentials for a minimum standard of living. As such, their basic human needs cannot be met. So you have situational poverty where someone loses their job, a health crisis, or divorce. So that might be a short amount of time, right? Or sometimes an extended amount of time, but the situation was an event happened. Next is generational poverty. So being a part of a family that has been living in poverty for more than 2 generations. I'll be honest, like I've experienced that. I am in that. Or when you talk, so back up, when you talk about poverty, the Census Bureau defines poverty as if your family makes under the dollar amount of $35,000. That is considered poverty. And so when you have that and you look at your family in the past, that could be the situation. So next you have absolute poverty. That's absolute lack of resources, including food insecurity. And ironically, even though we're in this nation where, we have the highest economic, right, the highest economy, it has one of the highest rates of food insecurity. And also homelessness and lack of health care. And we can see that. Like if you just go outside, you can literally see that.
Yeah.
Relative poverty. So living at about 50% or below the average income. So like I said, people think, the Census Bureau says poverty is $30,000. So relative poverty is half of that. So you might not be wealthy and be living paycheck to paycheck, but you have food on the table. So it might not be detrimental to your health, but emotionally it can take a toll because you can't get resources that you may need. You might be stuck with time waiting for the next paycheck. It will cause stressors of, dodging, like, collection calls, dodging things that you need to financially take care of. Emotionally, that is taking a hit. Then you have urban poverty where there's structural issues like housing, safety issues, overcrowding, sanitation. So big cities, Philadelphia, New York, Los Angeles, those type of big cities where it's overcrowded. Rural poverty. So that's like isolated areas, lack of access to technology, childcare, education. So it's good that we define what it is so at any time you can literally siphon through all of these and they could be true for you all at one time. And it's good that we're aware of the conditions that we are in and be honest, so we can really be honest, so we can fix the situation.
Right.
All right. Any question? Yeah, question?
No, if someone has a question, I'll mention it. And I want to give a shout out to Jedi Naz. She says, peace and blessings. She's in the building, baby. Yes. So I don't know if you can see it. So.
Yes, I can see her. Peace, Queen. Thank you for joining. Oh. All right, next slide. So basically, when you talk about poverty, the impact of poverty on mental and your physical health is paramount. It triggers actual physiological symptoms of anxiety, depression, substance use disorders, eating disorders, and other traumas. While it is painful, it's important that we really look at to see how intergenerationally we were impacted through slavery, genocide that happened because of that. And it's also important to understand the impact of the chronic stress of poverties that leads to inadequate financial resources and traumatic financial losses. So what's interesting is that it literally is transferred in your DNA. And so this not only is something that impacts you, but it's going to impact the future generations if, we don't come to a learning and understanding, and so we can pivot what's been done.
That's right.
hmm So yeah, so even your feelings. So I think of that statement as, do you remember the series Everybody Hates Chris? Remember
Yeah.
his dad? So remember his dad was like penny pinching, and like one of the kids spilled the milk. He's like, "Oh, that's 35 cents worth of milk you spilled." Like he was
Right.
like obviously stressed. That's an example of financial trauma. Like you shouldn't be having like reactions like that so strong where your children around you are like tight, like they can't move. That impresses on everybody, and then what
Mhm.
happens is when you move out into the world, that's how you respond to
Right.
things. You're restricting yourself.
Right.
hmm
And functioning in a poverty mindset.
That's a pure example of a poverty mindset. So we're going to hold on to that example, and I'm keep pressing forward. So those signs was one of those signs that we were talking about, right? But the signs of financial trauma, but basically the signs is that it's the conditions that impact a person's spending habits, financial relationships with others, and their mental well-being. So there are 8 that I'm going to talk about. And the first one is financial avoidance. Basically what we said earlier, we don't talk about this as a community. We don't talk about it together. And that is one of the biggest reasons why we continue to be in this position. We're not talking about finances in a safe space, and and I say that because people are so scared to talk about their finances with good reason, because some people feel vulnerable. Someone knows about my financial situation, they could exploit that. But the more we had these conversations and we change and pivot the mindset of money as a whole, which we're going to talk about, we will be less scared or less timid to have those conversations so we can collectively raise our wealth. No, so we need to talk about debt, net worth. Also, personally, financial avoidance of avoiding bills, avoiding collection calls, all of the things. And a lot of this stem from lack of education of finances,
And
lack of your
right. What to do with it. So it's
what.
like, you know what? I ain't got it. Don't understand it. I'm not gonna.
Mhm. And when you do that, and you're practicing the motion of putting your head in the sand, you're shielding yourself from actual opportunities that could get you out of that situation. But the more, put it this way, the more you hide from it, it's not going to go away. It's not going to end, and it's not going to make your situation better. So you have to face it head on with
Mhm.
education. 2, lack of financial boundaries. So when people are victims of financial trauma, they have difficulty setting financial boundaries, and this could lead to codependency. So, a situation like this, I would say, is like, let's say you see someone who looks financially well off, who looks financially independent, and is doing well, and you just like ask them like, how much money you make, or like how much that stuff costs, and like that's like financial, like that's like imposing on their boundaries. It's
Right.
codependent, because what's happening is you're projecting onto that person, even though, and they're in a different financial situation, you're projecting onto them unwanted energy, unwanted opinions, and so because it could not be true for you, you're projecting onto them. So that's lack of boundaries, and then it's creating judgment, you know. Next is scarcity, poverty mindset. So when you've been in environments, that we are used to, right? We are used to, like me being in inner city Philadelphia, I grew up, I love being in uptown Philadelphia, but it's still really inner city. You grow around, there's no grocery stores around. So there's, that's the, it's like a food desert. there's food deserts. There's nothing but liquor stores, Chinese stores, and hair salons. Chinese hair stores all around. When you grow up in that environment, you're going to take that mindset, and even though you might up and move yourself away from that environment, let's say you do go somewhere well off, you still have that mindset in you. So you take what's over there into your next environment. And
Right.
so what happens is now, because you haven't broken down that mindset, you're fearful, you're competitive, you think, oh, I gotta, like, there's no resources. When clearly, where this new area is a lot of resources, but you're acting like that. Now you're perpetuating the poverty mindset that you were unfortunately born with, right? Or not born with, exposed to.
Born into, yeah. And might I also say that, you see some people who they hoard because there's this disbelief that you'll be able to get it again. And and so basically, whenever you're functioning not in balance, not in ma'at, there's a reason for it. There's a trauma associated with that. And so hoarding and keeping a certain type of mindset with you along the way is because of trauma that has been unaddressed and that lingers on. So yes. So
go ahead.
Go ahead.
I'm gonna run through the rest of them because I'm realizing my time, so we're gonna keep it pressing to get all the information in.
Okay.
So excessive risk aversion. So this is like financial avoidance, where not understanding money and how it works, you're going to not make the necessary risk that it takes to make money. So when you're financially traumatized, like you said, you're going to be hoarding. Like, so you don't even just hoard things, you hoard money, And so what's happening is that now you're not putting yourself in positions where you need to spend money, because when not spend, you need to invest money in order to build yourself economically, like student loans, even though I digress about student loans, but stuff like, getting life insurance, doing things, investments, proper life wealth planning investments, things like that.
So Ashley, I want to stop you there for 1 second, because one of the things that we do with Tuesday Talk is to have solutions, and buying life insurance is a very easy entry point into doing that. Can you tell us first of all, what is life insurance, and what different types of life insurances are available, and why should we get it?
So life insurance, again, this is another misconception. Life insurance isn't for when you die. Life insurance actually is for the living. Life insurance, you get life insurance in order to make financial moves when you're alive. You can, if you get a life insurance policy, right? Let's say you have children and the goal is for the children to go to college or invest in something, let's say college. You can, if you get like $1 million life insurance, you can take out a policy while you're alive, and you can pay for their education once they get like let's say you got it when they were like 1 or 2 years old. Like, let's say they turn 17, 18, they're ready to go to college. All that time, you can take out the life insurance. You can take out a cash policy out of it, and it could pay for that while you're living. Some plans like that will be under like universal life insurance. Now the differences between term and whole. Term is a temporary, so it like decreases over time. It's like more short term. Let's say someone's older, you would get like term insurance. If you get whole insurance, that's more of long-term longevity. But then universal is one where you can actually make a lot of wealth. You can actually become like a bank of yourself on your life insurance. That make any sense?
Conceptually, yeah. I mean, these are topics we can dive into deeper in another Tuesday Talk. But basically, life insurance is just like what Senet Ashley is saying, is not for you bust your butt, you have insurance, you die, everybody else gets some money. Like that's one form of it. Yeah, it is.
Mm-hmm.
And that is for people who are forward thinking because their present state of finances are all set. And so what they want to do is to roll their current money over as well as add to it so that their generation, their children, grandchildren, great grandchildren, etc., are financially set for life. You can use insurance to pay off a home if a spouse dies. You can use insurance to make sure that kids have enough money to start a business or go to college or both, which is what I think we should do, especially Black people, but that's another Tuesday talk. So, you can use life insurance to, in a nutshell, in a quick and dirty kind of way, not dirty, but a quick kind of way, a quick and easy way to understand it. You put in less money than you get out, and the value of the money it shows up in education, it shows up in businesses, it shows up in the ability to elevate your family while you're alive and or not. So while you're alive or after you've passed away, or both, let me say it like that. It enables your family to level up in terms of your economic class, which isn't just for showboating, but it's so that your family can live with less financial trauma. So money is one of the answers to less financial trauma because but you still have to learn about money, because we've seen plenty of athletes and plenty of people who win the lottery who just blow it all and end up going broke, right? So you still have to learn how to manage your money, okay? But insurance is a good way to break generational curses and generational financial trauma of not having any money.
Exactly. Absolutely. It's so important. And then, like everybody's saying in the chat, at the end of the day, when you do pass away, we do need to have these policies so that, you're taken care of. The debt is not rolling into the family, and we don't have fish fries and GoFundMe.
Girl, I was just ready to say that when you got GoFundMe, I'm gonna use the stereotypical name for Leroy Jackson Jenkins, and it's a fish fry. And to raise money for a funeral, that they are living in poverty, and that their children and the next generation. I'm sorry, right? Exactly. And they are living in, that is a sign of generational poverty. When my father died in 2006, myself and my two half brothers, who are my brothers, but some people know I'm an only child. So just if you're like, you have brothers, I do. My father had paid for his funeral. He paid for it. So I went to the funeral home and the lady was like, "Oh, I know your dad. I'm so sorry he passed away. He paid for everything." He was a veteran, so he's in the Connecticut State Veterans Cemetery. But the services, the limo,
everything was paid.
Everything. I don't think he paid for the repast. I don't know. All I did was cry. So I don't know. But I think that he paid for that as well. Yeah, it was just the flowers. But anyway, my point is, and I grew up middle class, but my father managed his money and learned about it. We had insurance after he passed away. And so I don't live in poverty. Part of that is because my family, I'm Black American. My dad's family's from Georgia. My mom's family's from Virginia and Norfolk, Virginia. And we've never had to do raise funds for funerals. And it's gone from, working poor to working class to middle class. And your girl right here is working on her millions, so we can elevate to the next level, So it's all about learning and educating whatever you can, and then continue to learn. One of the things I learned about going to prep school, couple things, and this is not necessarily a diversion from what Senet Ashley is talking about. I knew that I did not have the personality to work for people. I knew that at 16. I said, if you want to keep a roof over your head, food on your plate, and soap, use soap. I'm not going to tell you what I said to myself because, I'm just not going to use that word. But soap everywhere, all in the cracks, right? I knew that I was going to have to make my own money. No, for real.
I
So
hear you.
ask yourself, do you have to make your own money?
Mm-hmm.
Do you have a job that you can't stand? Get a part-time job that you actually like. Figure out a way to, you know, put yourself in a situation where you have a positive relationship with money. A positive relationship. If you don't know what to invest in Sunrun. Sunrun is the number one solar company in the country. That's a good company to invest in. Invest in McDonald's. McDonald's been around forever. I don't see that going anywhere. And you know what I'm saying? And just do something easy that you know is gonna increase while you're learning more about money. Learn about your taxes. There's a whole bevy of stuff that you can learn from, and you can start there. Okay. One of the things that we have to understand is it doesn't go away. It just doesn't. It just the ignorance, and ignorance just means lack of knowledge. The ignorance feeds the fear, which immobilizes us. It stops us from moving because we don't know where to start. While you are watching this Tuesday talk, I would like for you guys to focus on two things that you're going to do. I'm going to give you one to do. Look up life insurance. I feel like I need to ring a couple bells and get somebody on here talking about the different types of life insurance.
Mm-hmm.
You would be surprised how inexpensive it is to pay for a policy that will change your life.
Mm-hmm.
It will change.
Generationally too.
Period. Thank you. That's what I was getting ready to say. It will change your life. If you buy Jordans, if you buy Starbucks, if you get 2 Starbucks coffees a month, there's your life insurance policy.
Yeah.
If
Starbucks
you,
$7 a cup.
I'm sorry, what'd you say?
Starbucks $7, $8 a cup.
It's ridiculous. If you go get your hair braided, if you get your hair did, all right, there's your life insurance policy. If you don't plan your day well enough and you end up ordering food 5 times a month, which is very easy to do, especially if you live in a walking city like New York City, there's your life insurance policy.
Yep.
It's dumb easy and affordable. Even if you get a part-time job, just so you can have your life insurance policy taken out automatically. Put it in a separate account. You don't have the debit card for it. It's automatic. It automatically goes in from your paycheck just for that. We're also going to talk about trusts and wills.
I was about to talk about trust. That's a hot issue.
Yes.
Get into trust, because it's not about your wills. Your wills is going to keep your family in debt. It's about trust. Seriously, I'm going to talk about that.
We're going to talk. Are you talking about that here, or are we going to do that another Tuesday?
I can't talk about it now because I got a lot of slides. But if we can make a part 3 and add that to the back end of the series, the money matters.
Okay. That's great.
About trust. Right.
Yeah. I'm going to hand the microphone off to you. Oh, Senet Nikas said his wife sells life insurance. Well, we need to talk because we want to keep all the money in the family. So I'm gonna turn the mic over. I want to thank Abdullah Aziz, brother Abdullah Aziz. Thank you for sending your condolences on losing my father. I appreciate that a lot. I really do. Yes. Okay, so Senet Ashley, I'm turning it back over to you.
Oh yes, ma'am. I'm gonna go through these last 4. So the next 4 we have is financial dependency. So financial dependency is when someone relies on someone for meeting their whole financial needs. This can be as young as children. But it also can be adults, your elder parents. Now, if the person is not doing right by that person, that can turn into financial abuse. So that person can get financial trauma from that. Compulsive spending. Next will be people with financial trauma may engage in impulsive shopping or overspending. And that can lead to an addiction. That is also financial trauma. Underspending. When they feel out of control with money and trauma, they become miserly, extremely frugal to calm money anxiety. Kind of like the the gentleman I was talking about earlier, and everybody hates Chris, definitely excessive frugal is not balanced. And
Right.
last is workaholism. So some people may work excessively and they'll burn themselves out because of the bills and things. Now the problem is workaholism is only that when you're out of alignment with your purpose, and if you don't have a goal, you're literally trying to do things on a physical level and it's stressing you out because it's not in alignment with you. That's when it becomes a physiological issue. Um, and it will cause mental and physical health complications. So those are the signs, that's something to just really think about. Think about how you deal with money, how you are exposed to money, and how you are with money. How do you feel about money? Like all these things, really take the time to write down and assess yourself. And that way you can see where you are and pivot to where you want to be. So next is how to resolve your financial trauma. So for one, we need to rewrite our money story. Rewriting our money story is learning about finances, learning about money, learning about math, everything we're going to talk about in the next half
Uh,
will help us understand.
can I
Go ahead.
can I jump
Mhm.
in? Here we go. Sorry, I hit the wrong thing. Before we jump into solutions, let's talk about how we can use capitalism against itself. Okay. So one of the things that Senet actually mentioned when she first got on was these systems were set up for us as well.
Mhm.
The only way to use capitalism against itself is to make sure that we are engaged in businesses that are financially sound and that make money for us while we're sleeping. I knew that too when I was at prep school because I was at prep school in Connecticut, and during the Reagan and George Bush era. All right, it doesn't get more capitalist than that. All right, in Connecticut. Okay, so your money has to make money for you. If you are making money for, if you are working for, if you are working to make your money, then you're not using capitalism to your benefit. Using capitalism to your benefit is when money is working for you, when you are receiving residual income, when you in various forms. Okay, so that's a general answer to your question: how to use it for how do you use it for you? Basically, use capitalism against itself. I'm going to flip that a little bit and say, how can we use capitalism for us? So that's just a little bit of an answer, making sure that you're engaged in business decisions and endeavors where that money is going to make money for you. Next week, we're going to be talking about government contracts. So Arek and anyone and everyone, come back next week because we're going to have more specific information on how you can get your hands on government contracts. That's the way to have your money working for you. Okay, because you make money over here, you can take it over there and do other things with it. Okay, all right. So I just wanted to answer that question. I thought that was a good question. I'm
Yeah.
also, yeah, that was a good question, and also let you guys know we're gonna have to do a section on life insurance because we all need it. Life insurance and trust.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. I'm handing the mic back to you, Rakim. Go ahead.
So rewriting our money story. So just because you were raised in the environments we were raised in, where money wasn't taught, lack of resources, that doesn't have to be your story. Rewrite it by learning, being in environments like this. We have all of the knowledge that we have in our hands, in our phones, on this worldwide internet. Google financial trauma, Google financial abuse, Google capitalism, Google the mathematics of money. I'm going to give you a lot of input in the next half in a few minutes because all these terms I'm giving at you is going to go fast. But if you just hold on to them and just start doing Googling, and you're, literally, you're going to expose yourself and it's going to open your mind and expand yourself so you have access now. Next, embrace your worth. Know that you all have worth. The only reason why we might feel as though we need to give it to a 9 to 5, give it away or we don't have it is because it's what you were taught. We were spiritually disconnected from our knowledge. We were disconnected spiritually from the very things that will help us in this world. So taking the time back, sitting down, learning your spiritual gifts, do stuff like look up, if you're in astrology, look up your Jupiter. Jupiter is the planet of wealth, resources, expansion. If you understand how you relate to that, you'll understand where your gifts are astrologically, but there's other ways you can do it, but start expanding on that. And, and you'll start understanding who you are. Seek support. Like I said, being in like-minded places. Also, think about getting a financial advisor. I sat down with a gentleman from a financial advisor company, and he taught me so much about the things I need to do. Like he gave me a whole trajectory of where my finances will be through the course of my life and the things I needed to do to change what I need to change now in order to make myself better. And so those are very, very, very important things to do. Sit down with someone like that, sit down with an accountant, sit down with a life insurance person, sit down with an attorney to talk about trust, learn, really start learning these wealth concepts and get people who are professionals in this industry and start building that into your financial profiles. Into your families too. Again, seek an advisor, right? Start decreasing shame by practicing self-compassion.
That's right.
The reason why we don't talk about it is because it's so much shame in our families. Like it's kind of like you're just expected to know what to do with all of these things. First of all, nobody was taught really how to operate in the system, right? And then all of a sudden, people look on you if you don't have it together financially. No, first it starts by being self-compassionate to yourself, forgiving yourself, forgiving our ancestors or whatever we didn't know, whatever is the blocks, forgiving that. And when you do that, and collectively, if you can see if everybody does that, we would have safer spaces to be able to come to one another, and we won't be victims, or we won't be vulnerable, or people won't be predatory,
Right.
You're scared to talk about your finances because people be predatory, so that's what we need to do collectively. Identify your triggers. We just talked about all of those in the other 2 slides. Apply mindfulness to your financial life. It's so important that these concepts of mindfulness get into finances as well, because finances and, if you know marketing and know the business of like, companies and how they do things with marketing, they play off your emotions. And if the more uneducated you are, the more emotional you are off of ignorance. So you're not being mindful to the things that are creating financial issues with you. Because now you're at the whim of like some marketing, you're at the whim of, what's the word I want to look for when I'm saying
a predator.
A predator
takes advantage.
Yeah, like a Ponzi schemes and all the things. And then just because you got hit by one Ponzi scheme, now you think all of everything is a Ponzi scheme, when it's really no, you don't know, you don't have the education. So be mindful.
And I'm going to jump in. At my high school, there was a huge Ponzi scheme. Like when I tell you I got some financial education at my prep school, I mean, who can say that the Ponzi scheme at their high school, like, affected the state's economy? All right. Like, girl, yes, their financial, I interject and say all that to say that financial trauma and recognizing it can come in a variety of ways. It can come in the way of, like, for example, I wanted to be a doctor. I applied to medical school. I got waitlisted, but I didn't get in, and I started a business. I had ups and downs. And there are things that I learned later on as an entrepreneur that you kind of learn in business, working for someone else. I did not see the value or the benefit of working for someone else because I just was afraid that I would get fired. I was afraid that I wasn't going to be able to not get fired.
You have the resources to know how to hold the job.
Right. No, 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 not that. I just thought that my personality
Uh,
was just gonna buck the system, not
mhm,
on purpose,
mhm,
but it was just a fear of mine. And why did I have that fear? I had that fear because of that Ponzi scheme.
mhm,
That company was a staple in Connecticut. And
mhm,
so for that company to just for the bottom to fall out. So let me set the stage a little tiny bit. It's prep school in Connecticut from the fall of 1985 to the spring of 1992. That's Reagan and Bush. All
mhm,
right. That's Connecticut. The Dukes of Hazards were on. It was just very white and very rich and very Republican. Money's flowing. Money's flowing like booze after 3 p.m. at a club in New York in the 90s. All right.
mhm,
Now, people own islands. People have buildings named after them, their family names. People
mhm,
have multiple homes.
mhm,
Just the way, whatever you think wealth is, that's what it was. People just writing checks for prep school like no problem,
mhm,
right?
mhm,
So money seemed easy. It was easy. It's easy to go skiing in Colorado. It's easy to go to Maine. It's easy to go wherever you want. It was easy. So I'm like, oh, I'll start a business. It'll be easy. That's what I thought it was. And when that
mhm,
company, when the bottom fell out, the kids we were at school. We knew them. So
mhm,
it blew
mhm.
up while we were at school. That's what we talked about.
Everybody knew.
Everybody knew, but what I'm saying is we knew these people.
Mm,
So the long and the short of it is, I'm thinking you don't have the personality to stay in corporate America. Money is easy to make and live it, and you can't trust big corporations. And then we have this Ponzi scheme blew up. So now I'm like, I am not working 9 to 5. I am not working 9 to 5. I am not working 9 to 5. I realize now, or not necessarily now, but in the process of learning, I should have worked 9 to 5 for like maybe 5 or 10 years, 5, 7 years. That if you go in knowing, and this also is another way you can use capitalism against itself, or in a kind of a positive spin, using it for your benefit. I'm in for 7, period. And I know that going in, I have a plan. I'm gonna get my insurance. I'm gonna learn my finances. I'm gonna get my financial planner. I'm
mhm,
gonna I'm gonna invest. I'm gonna save. I'm gonna spend. Everything is earmarked. I'm
mhm,
gonna learn the structure of business. Like,
mhm,
you can use a 9 to 5 to learn from it and then leave it, or you can use a 9 to 5 to support you and your family. There's 100% nothing wrong with saying, I don't want to be an entrepreneur. I want to know how much money I'm getting. I want to know what my benefits are. I want to know what my insurance is, so my daughter can get braces
mhm,
and not have crowded teeth.
mhm,
I want to know these things, and there is nothing wrong with that. I know this is a little bit of a tangent, but sometimes in this space, we too good to work for the white man. We too good to work 9 to 5. We
mhm.
too good for this, too good for that. But you know what I'm saying, you doing a GoFundMe for basic stuff.
Right.
So there's nothing wrong with a 9 to 5. Have a plan. Your plan could be 7 years. Your plan could be 20. Your plan could be whatever your plan is that's working for you.
It has to be goal oriented. It has to be specific, realistic. But
Right.
first, educate yourself. And like I said, so I know the gentleman, he keeps mentioning about capitalism. Iraq, like literally, it's about to get juicy in the second half.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go
So
ahead, girl.
it's going to explain. Trust me, stick with it. I got you. He's still around. But thank you for that interjection, because that's going to be my point for the next half. But these last few, I'm gonna wrap these up. But basically, shift from a scarcity mindset to abundant thinking. Repetitively thinking, saying it's the white man's money or capitalism. Unfortunately, that is a scarcity mindset. And I'm gonna tell you why again in the second half. Because it's not expansive. It's restrictive, right? Like think about what that term is doing to you. Do you feel empowered? Do you feel, motivated? No. So it's something with that. So if we just shift our paradigm and don't even worry about them and understand what is really happening, you'll be more abundant, so that. And then practice healthy detachment. That's going to help you with your excessiveness. Like some people are scared of money taking over them. So like that scripture says, like the love of money, they're scared of that. So if you actually detach yourself and become more neutral with money, it won't control you. And then at the other spectrum, you won't be so tight with it. It's
Balance.
about balance, my eye, right? Next is set healthy financial boundaries in your relationship, making sure nobody is financially abusing you. If someone is financially abusing you, like the signs and signals of that is like, they might sabotage some type of idea you have. They might be holding resources. That's real financial abuse, almost as bad as physical abuse. Definitely get some help, get some assistance, and become empowered and move, out of that situation with awareness. And last, get physically active and detox. Ironic, right? It's so important to understand about money. You have to be physically active. I know a lot of people look, like they're big and fat and wealthy. There's other things at play, but if you really want to really get wealth and but get up out this situation, start working out, start changing your diet. Money circulates, so does your body have to circulate, and I'll tell you why in the next section. So, does anybody have any questions about this half before we transition?
Nope. I'm looking through now. We've addressed it. I do want to address this one last. Where is it? So, what if capitalism itself is a trigger, being that you understand it was built on the back of our ancestors who were enslaved?
If we could
That's a
say
big
that,
question.
yeah, we could say that for
Yeah,
the next.
that's a big question, and we really don't have the time and the space to answer that particular question specifically, but generally just understand that as descendants of enslaved Africans, that that is part of our trauma. With the 40 acres and a mule we haven't gotten, with reparations that we have not gotten, with land that was stolen, and et cetera, with segregation that helped us, unite and have our own financial base, and with integration, which is really destabilization of our communities, mass incarceration, which took our men away. All of those things affected our economic base. That's a bigger question for us than we have the time and the space to answer here. But generally speaking, that's what this Tuesday talk is all about, in dealing with our financial trauma. A lot of that comes from enslavement. My mom and I were talking about that tonight, like what our, especially being Black American on both sides, what our people did here in the States. So that's kind of an ongoing understanding of how to heal from our financial trauma. So I hope that answered your question. We're gonna stay back on track with what Senet Ashley is discussing. Go ahead, Senet.
Thank you. Yes. So now we're in part two. I put together a concept called the metaphysics of money. So these are going to be not solutions, but more of the educational side of how our spiritual practices is actually going to be a benefit to us with money, and how we actually have a leg up, because we are practitioners of Ma'at and ATRs. So basically, what is money? Let's start off with what money is, first of all. Money is a medium of exchange used by a government or public authority in the form of coins, gold, silver, other metals, paper bills, used as the measure of value of goods and services. So money is a medium in exchange and is a measurement system. So when I think of medium exchange, the tangible part of it is the money part, but the measure, what do we think of measure? We think of ma'at. Measurement is the netter ma'at is a measurement, and that's what money was based off of. That is how money circulates and how it's counted, the frequency of it all, of the unit as a unit of measurement, right? So a step further is money is an agreed upon store of value created in the past to facilitate easier exchange in the present. It's basically stored energy waiting to be used. And whose energy is it? It's yours. It's definitely that's why we say it's so important to understand your value. It's so important to know who you are, because that directly correlates to your wealth. Now, the medium of how it gets to you is how you manage the money, how you make the money, how you count the money. So basically, you could say money is the exchange between heaven, the mental realm, and earth, the material realm. So all those things have to balance in order to have wealth. I hope that makes sense. Any questions before I go? Keep moving.
Nope, you got it. I'll jump in with questions, girl. You on the mic. You see what Sen Garrick said, right?
Oh, St. Garrett, thank you so much. I'm sitting there like looking at my stuff. Great, give thanks. I appreciate y'all. So I'm gonna keep pushing because I know we got time.
Yeah.
Money misconceptions. So what money is and what I would love for us to reframe our minds is on the left side. On the right side is what we are being taught that money is, which is actually misconceptions. So we were taught that, so money, the truth of money is money should be multiplied. It's currency. If you think about the current, it goes current. So it has to go, and it has to produce, it has to go out and make babies in order for you to have wealth. We were taught that money should be saved or hoarded. It actually should not be saved or hoarded. It shouldn't be saved, because if you have money stagnant, that things like inflation, things like other things that advance in technology is actually going to eat at it and then take it away. That I'll explain that in the next slide of how money actually moves, but it will make sense when I talk about it. Next, money is an objective or tool, but we were taught that money is evil. Money is not evil. Evil is an emotion. Evil is a thing. Evil is a human condition. Money is actually a legit tool. Like, for example, you could have a hammer. If the hammer is sitting there, you could either use the hammer to put a nail in the wall and put a painting up like behind me. Or you could use that same hammer and you could hit somebody upside the head with it. Now it became a weapon. A hammer is neutral. It depends on the person and the intention behind what it does. That's the same for money. Money is literally neutral. So that scripture, unfortunately, was misspoken. It's not the right concept for what money is, and actually, it's out of context, because that money is evil is actually longer. It actually has a lot more to it. But I digress. Next, money is actually potential energy, but we think money is paper. Now, like we said, it's a misconception that money is paper, because now look what happened in our time. In our time, we're experiencing things like blockchains and cryptocurrency. The reason why you have to take and have the correct understanding of money is because money is about to change a lot. And crypto is just one of the biggest revolutions of understanding exchange in this lifetime. So the more you understand that, take the physicality of it out of it, you can understand how it works. And you don't have to be restricted just to paper money. Next, money is unbiased, but we were taught that money belongs to a certain race or gender. And it's a huge misunderstanding because now we heard of things like, oh, that's the white man's money, or that's the white man's system, all of the things. What it is that it's a certain knowledge that we weren't privy to, because of the residue of slavery and not having our education and being kept out of the system of understanding money, that only those people had privy to. That's the only reason why. However, once we get the right understanding of money, once we get the resources and get collectively understanding, that is a fallacy. It does not belong to a race or any gender. It's completely unbiased. So we kind of need to decenter white people from money because they don't own the money.
Say that again, please.
We need to decenter white people from money.
Decenter, which means take them out of the center, just out of your own center. And I'm gonna jump in quick. You can time me 10 seconds. A lot of us are in this African spiritual space, but we still have a white savior conditioned mind. And we think that there are saviors. Ain't nobody coming to save you or us except our collective work together. So so take another whole man out of your center, period. And really be cognizant of this, of the fact that we are conditioned to have a savior come get us. Okay. So yeah, that's it. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Ashley.
Yeah. Just because they are over it, it's only, think of it like this. They only have a head start on us. Other than that, these are our systems, and I'm about to talk about it later. But this is our concepts: money, arithmetic, algebra, all of the things. These are African technologies that they took, and they have a head start on us because they kept us away from it. Other than we come and we're reclaiming it, because we are the originators. Best believe we can probably do better than what they have today once we finally get the right understanding, So money is infinite, but there's the misconception that money is limited or scarce. Money actually follows the universe. The universe is infinite. There's infinite stars, everything. The money goes off of that. So in order to break down that concept that is limited, you have to think that money is spiritual, which I'm going to be talking about next. It's not limited. It's not scarce. It's enough to go around. All of those are literally fear-based concepts to keep you in the limited frame of thinking so that it keeps you away from it. Real quick, Curtis Jackson. Yes, send Curtis. That is absolutely right. We definitely direct and navigate the flow because it's going off of our energy.
That's right.
The money is the tool, but it represents our literal energy.
Yep.
All right, so next. So how is money metaphysical? What is metaphysics? Metaphysics is the study of nature and the universe and everything in it. That's how I explain metaphysical. So like I said to my point earlier, that money follows after universal principles. So it's part of nature. Money operates as a medium of exchange between your mental and material realm. And the root causes are on the three dimensions of the spiritual, the mental, and the emotional. Okay. So if we understand that, we understand how it all plays in with our spirituality. So how is money spiritual? So in order to have money, money moves off of mathematics. And we now know as, spiritual practitioners of Ma'at that mathematics is derived from Ma'at principles. I have a quote here that I'll read that is going to lay the foundation. When educating our youth and adults, awareness of the origins of the subject matter and its cosmological foundation in our ancestral culture and religion is essential. Our people take ownership of the subject matter when they become aware of its intrinsic connection to them socially and spiritually. Basically, what they're saying is that you have to understand that all these financial systems, money, capitalism, all of that, these are all African technologies. And we need to reclaim them because that's all they're using. All they did was, in order to create this country, to create all their civilizations, they all learned and sat at our elders in Kemet, took the information off the walls of our Markut walls, took our concepts and built their civilizations and advanced them through it. At the end of the day, the foundation is African technologies. If you understand the foundation, no matter how much it evolves, no matter how much it does, you will always have a solid foundation and understanding what's going on because you understand they only are using your information.
Right.
So there's no
Yep.
way to lose. The only reason why we're disconnected is because we were disconnected because of education. Like, we were disconnected from learning the language. We were separated from it. So this is our abundance. Yes, this is our abundance inherited to us. Yes, all it takes is to reclaim and properly use it. So to understand money is breath through is expanded and moves through math. Math is a system of measurement and calculation and recognition of the value of things, objects, entities, and events in creation. It's how you literally can calculate your financial situation. You can make financial projections off of it, just like businesses do all of those things to their businesses. You actually should be doing that to your life, but you have to know math. And I hate this, me being a millennial and growing up. I don't know if this is the story for you, Hmt Ntr, but like I grew up in school where I don't know where I've begun to pick this up, but I always picked up that, oh, I'm bad at math. I'm bad at math. Oh my gosh, I hate math. But if you now don't know what you know now as a practitioner of Ma'at, do you know that that's actually like cursing yourself? You can't be bad at math. Math is Ma'at. How are you bad? That's literally separating you from the divinity that is going to help you move your life forward. It's a contradiction. There's no way you can be bad at math and practice spiritual practice, African technologies. There's no way. That's a contradiction. We need to reclaim it. We need to heal ourselves from that. And we need to dive deep into understanding mathematical concepts because that is the building block of this entire universe. So math is just not a direct inheritance from our math is not just a test, but it's a direct inheritance. So the two Neteru that govern math is Ma and Ma'at. The feminine Ma'at and the Ma. I don't know if I'm saying it right, Ma, but that's the masculine principle of it. The understanding that everything has to balance. So when you think about math, when you think about accounting principles, that's how the ledger was built. The idea that what's on the left side has to balance to the right side. That is legit scales. That is a concept that governs the air that you breathe. It governs how you think. It governs everything, every principle, including money. So this is something that we definitely have to reclaim and stand on that. Basically, the study of math is ancestral religious conviction. Any questions?
Nope. You're rolling, girl.
So, how is money spiritual? Part two. So, not only do we find it in our Kemetic ancestry, but we can find it in other ATRs like Ifa. And Ifa, the goddess Aj, she is the Orisha, as they call them, of wealth. And so the fact that we have deities in ATRs that is like in charge of money and wealth and these concepts proves that our ancient ancestors, and these were done thousands of years before colonizers and white people were a thing, that proves that these are our systems and that these systems are actually gentrified and currently, presently now. But it proves to you that these concepts of money is spiritual. So if you see like the Oriki is like a scriptural verse or like a chant. You could see over here on the right hand side how the goddess Aj is a patroness of trade and economic prosperity, and how she describes wealth and how it affects human affairs. So that's something you could check out. But I'm gonna keep it pushing because I'm gonna make sure we're on time. But that's basically the understanding that we really, really have to ground in, that we have to make money balanced right a part of your spirituality. So the nature of money, how it flows, all financial problems are spiritual first. And the reason why it's spiritual is because the term as above, so below. As above references like the spiritual mental planes should reflect equal balance as below, which is in the physical earthly realm. If you take a look at your physical realm, look at your environment, if it's not balanced, if it's not an indication of ascension, advancement, wealth, there's a disconnect in the spiritual realm. Something's not flowing. And that could be because the mental, like I said, lack of education, lack of resources to get the education to make it make sense. It's a disconnect. So if you take it to that part right there, you'll solve a lot of problems. How it should flow is spiritual, which we're connected through the Netaru or Orisha or God, whoever. That is the information that is laid upon you divinely through your mental. Your mental comes in and processes it. And then what happens is your mental process it, then it becomes emotional, and it becomes an energy in motion, meaning that it becomes a physical, it becomes like how can I explain it? It becomes like the turning wheels to create the physical realm. So that's literally the flow of how it goes. So basically, money is a spiritual substance, right? But the physical representation serves as an indicator to what you actually believe your value is in the physical world. It always is traced back to as above or spiritual. But what I want to say is, a lot of this is unfair. A lot of this is, extenuating circumstances out of our control, right? But you have to know that regardless of your financial situation, regardless of what it looks like, regardless of the physical, you have to understand that you are invaluable to the Most High, the Netter, and God. It's just that we have to work on the disconnect to make what exists in the spiritual, how grand you are, how amazing you are, how talented you are, to make it make sense in the physical realm. And it should show and be it should be a product of what we can see, if that makes any sense.
It does.
All right, Ashe. So, right. So in order to understand how money is manifested, we must understand how the mind works. So, we're students of Ma'a, and, we have our own practices, but in order to make this universal, I lean on the Hermetic principles. Again, Hermetic taken from African spiritual knowledge, taken from our Netter Tahuti. These are cliff notes of how to understand how universal law works with all of this. So the 7 principles we have are mentalism, correspondence, I missed my E, but mentalism, correspondence, vibration, polarity, rhythm, and cause and effect, and gender. I'm sorry, it's like cutting it off. So these 7 Hermetic principles, I don't know if anybody are familiar with the Hermetic laws of the universe, but these are a very great basic way of understanding how spiritual law works metaphysically into physical results. So mentalism, the understanding is that all is the mind and the universe is mental. Everything happens in the mental plane first, spiritually, and everything corresponds off of that. The next will be correspond. When you talk about correspondence, it's literally it corresponds. As above, literally equally should represent so below. That's a Ma'at principle, right? The principle of balance. You can't have one without the other. If one doesn't make sense, then there's something lacking over here. So at all times, everything should correspond. That's also an indicator you could tell the truth about things. You could tell when someone's lying to you. Like you do this all the time with correspondence. Like you could tell, like, I don't know if she's really, if I don't know a really good example, but you know how you look at something, you look at the outer, and you're like, I don't know. And sure enough, what you didn't see was that it wasn't corresponding, so that's that principle. Vibration, nothing rests, everything is in motion. So this principle is crucial because down to like, the very chair that I'm sitting on, our bodies, the tables, everything, the walls, it looks solid, it's not. And this is getting into quantum physics. Understanding this principle that everything is moving at a vibration will help you understand that no, your money is not supposed to sit somewhere. It's not supposed to be saved. It's not supposed to be stagnant. And you aren't supposed to be stagnant. You have to move and vibrate just like this universe does. When you're staying in motion, you're in tune with the universe. So that principle is something you should always have in the back of your head. Nothing rests, everything is in motion. Polarity, everything is dual, everything has its poles. So there's always an equal and opposite pole to something. So a good example of this is that understanding that, hey, our situation is like this because of slavery and all of the extenuating circumstances. That's one pole of it. You have to understand that universal law explains that there's another pole to that we can get to. So this does not have to be a story. This is not permanent. We just have to make the math and get to the other pole of it and balance it out. So polarity proves that you can be wealthy. You can operate in this system and not being taken over with it. Next is rhythm. Everything flows in and out, and it has its tides. So like everything is rhythm. So that's why music, sound, frequencies, all of that are units of measurement. And just like you can hear it, you have to understand that these concepts applies to math too. Math is the frequency. In fact, you use math to understand rhythm because you have to understand how many taps make a rhythm. That's the same thing with money. Money can be counted that way as a rhythm. And so that'll help you understand as well. Cause and effect. Everything has a cause. Every cause has its effect. Every effect has a cause. Chance is but a name for a law not recognized. So this will help you ground yourself into to not having pie in the sky thinking about money. Like some people think like, oh, they're so lucky, or it's by chance. There's no chance in the universe. There's always a law at play that you don't know. And laws are here, right? Something is happening, so it would behoove all of us to understand these principles so we apply the laws too and not be left out. And the last one is gender. Everything has a masculine and feminine, what is it? Masculine.
Energies, a synergy between the feminine and masculine.
Yeah. Gender manifests on all planes. So, and that's indication of, if you look at our Ntr, you see how Ma'at and Ma, the masculine and the feminine principle, make the concept of math, makes the concept of money. So if you understand that, so we're not talking about masculine and feminine as far as like socially, like social gender norms. No, we're talking about the understanding that masculine principles are linear, they're square-like, and the feminine principle is a spiral, is more of a circular. Together, that makes the synergy of the universe. So understanding these, a really good book that I would love to reference is From Fear to Freedom. My good friend wrote that, Satra. She's so good. That book really helps you understand these laws and really helps you apply them. You can also extract all of our spiritual knowledge through these laws, and you can reference. And if you want to know any of them, you go to our net. You can go to our spiritual understandings, and you can get that deeper, original understanding of them. But this is just a good way to understand universal principles and how money corresponds, and actually work off of these principles. Any questions? Yes, the fluctuation of the stock market definitely does reflect time and cycles. Absolutely. See, you're getting, yes, it's not going to be so foreign once we really understand what is the origins, what is the foundations of all of these financial systems. It's our knowledge, So, yep.
You
Okay.
know, I've been looking at all the questions. I don't see that there are any questions. People are really what so Send Curtis would like to know the name of the book again.
Yes, it's called From Fear to Freedom. It's on Amazon. In fact, I'll pull it up.
Who's the author?
Amazon. Let me get it right now.
Yeah, and then just post it in the chat.
All right, so yeah, I can't post it in this one. I didn't connect my YouTube, but I'm gonna go over to the Facebook one. I'll go to the Facebook one real quick.
Okay.
It's called From Fear to Freedom: Utilizing the 7 Laws to Shift One's Mindset, Habits, and Behavior.
Can you copy and paste it into the chat, or you can't do that?
I can't paste it into the chat because I'm not connected to YouTube, but I was trying, I'm a DM you.
Senet, Cheryl, can you do it? Can you Google it? Just so they can see a picture, and then people can go to
And I'm mad.
Hold on, guys. I'm about to do it right
Okay, I just DM'd you.
now.
I have another book that will also help, that I actually have right here. But that one is just explaining universal principles and how to reshape your mind. And oh, can you hear me? Wait, can y'all hear me? Because I'm not sure where Senet, not Senet, Hmt Ntr went. Can y'all hear me? Hello. Okay, you can hear me? Okay. I don't know where she probably went off, but okay, but I'm gonna keep pressing on. So with all of the knowledge that I gave, or the information I referenced, this book here is called Rich and Righteous. This is a really, really good book by Julian Gordon. As you see, it's like really huge, but it's an amazing book, and I'm not the one to be like, oh, get this. This book is so good. This book, it's based off principles that we were taught from Christianity. I know most of us come from Christianity, and we were taught so many different things about money, misconceptions. And so a lot of us, when we left Christianity, we kind of threw the baby away with the bathwater, not understanding that those same scriptures, we have to actually deconstruct and reframe in order to break like the hold and the spell that it has on us. So I shared this book with Hmt Ntr a few months ago. If you buy the book, I think it's $100, but you get 5 copies. And the intention of the author, Julian Gordon, is that he does that so you could circulate the books, because it's no good having the information by yourself and you don't circulate it with our community, so we don't lift ourselves. But this is I think this is required reading. I'll be honest with you. He gets so deep into understanding money, understanding rates of returns, your abundance mindset, completely reframes everything. So I'm gonna just put it up so people can like take a picture of it. You have the book, right? I sent it to you too, right? Oh wait, we can't hear you. Can't hear you. Can't hear you. Uh-oh. Oh, you gotta come back. Okay. This book, I promise you. So over the summer, he went over it. He actually read it audible, like on YouTube every day for like 100 days. And it was even doper hearing him read it because in between reading it, he gave ad libs as to what he intended by what he wrote. But literally, I'm telling you, no, I still can't hear you. That's why I'm talking over you. I'm sorry if I'm talking over you. But I'm gonna put it up again because I really want y'all to really look into this book, Rich and Righteous. I think you should get off his book off Amazon. You're only going to get one copy for 100, but if you go on his website, it's richandrighteous.com. And let me see. Yeah, you got to go to richandrighteous.com to get. Or wait a minute, hold on, that's not it. Hold on, hold on one second. Let me find. Oh, I'm sorry, not Rich and Righteous. It's richrightnow.com. Richrightnow.com that's going to be the website in order to get it. So I don't know if Senet Cheryl, if you could put richrightnow.com in the chat. Yeah, I'm still on this point because the book I didn't want to move because I love the book so much. It's so good. But I'm gonna keep wrapping this up. So I'm gonna get into I'm not sure where your audio went. Hmt, you're leaving? Maybe you have to leave and come back. Wait, I really can't. I cannot hear you. But I'm gonna keep going. Okay, so I only have a few more slides left. So we're on healing financial trauma, the game simulation. I'm just going to really talk about what happened in this. Is a book? I believe so. I believe it's internationally available. But if you go to richrightnow.com, you should be able to see the details of purchasing. But I did a healing financial trauma game with Jedi Nas. I don't know if she's still here with us, but I facilitated this workshop and put all of these concepts into perspective and practice. And when I tell you it was amazing, it was just the energy changed. So essentially in the game, what I did was me and Jedi Nas, we created, I think like Monopoly for us. So what we did was we created roles. We created roles like college graduate, a unemployed person, unemployed person, unemployed person.
Can you hear me?
Yes, but I got an echo.
Can you hear me? Yes, but I got an echo. Can you hear me? Yes. Okay, hold on. Give me 1 second.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry.
You're good.
Sorry. You're good. Sorry.
Yes, an echo.
Oh my God. Oh my God. What I did.
I think it went away
This is
though.
awful.
Yeah, it went away. Okay, I'm gonna keep
Can
pressing.
you guys hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you. Yeah.
All right. I'm sorry, y'all. That was like 5 minutes of janky, and I'm so sorry.
It's okay.
Where I'm here. All right.
Yeah, but we're talking about the game. Oh, go
Hold
ahead.
on.
Mhm.
Is there an echo?
No, the echo's
Okay. So we about to do it like this. So go ahead, Senet, Ashley, issue. You got it.
Okay. So we were talking about the game and the different roles we created. We created the roles of an unemployed single mom. We created a role of a single dad, a college student, a person that's a new hired at a job. So basically, we assigned them all these different. We assigned them all these different roles, and we gave them. Oh wait, it's an echo.
Oh my God. Um, so
we're almost done.
Yeah, we're almost done.
I'm gonna mute myself,
Mhm.
and hopefully there'll be no echo.
Okay. I think it's going away too, but yeah. So when we made all these roles, long story short, we gave them, they all had their assignments. So their assignment, they had like one or two assignments they had to do. So they had to either meet with the bank, they had to meet with a business consultant, they had assignments like they had to make this financial decisions based off the information that I just presented with you. But long story short, they had all these different assignments they had to do. So within each other, they had to communicate with one another. So they had to find each other, like if someone had to find the bank or someone had to find the other business owner or whatever. And they had to make decisions, and the decisions that they made could either advance them abundantly or it could set them back. And the whole goal was to make $10,000 at the end. So in the middle of it all, they could seek assistance from their spirit guides, spiritual counselor, healers, business coaches, tarot readers. And what's funny is because we did this in person, and all of those people were online, so it represented like the invisible realm, right? So, and then in order to understand the principles, we had them we gave them the option to donate to charity. Little did they know that the more they donated to charity, the laws of reciprocation were enforced, where at the end of the game, whatever they donated, they got 10, like 5 or 10 fold, times what they had donated. And that was to represent how, what they call karma, or the laws of the universe, circles right back to you. So at the end, you could tell. So when we finished, what was so interesting was that there were some people that played like their real life. And even though we were giving them $100 bills and money, we said, hey, suspend all of it. This is not your real life. Your real life, like, played this game like this is your life. They played it like they real life, where they had a lot of financial trauma and they were miserly with their money, or they did not make the investments or do the things. Come to find out, they said, oh my gosh, like, I played this life like my real life because I really was still hesitant to do any of these things, and I didn't make no money. Like, they actually was in debt. Then the other side of it was some people went full force, and the other spectrum was they went full force into it. They said, I don't care, I'm donating all my money to charity, I'm doing this, I'm making this investment, I'm doing this. How the game, and literally we couldn't make it up, we literally just randomly made situations. But because they really took hold of how the universe works with money, some of them made $50,000, $100,000. It was so interesting how they did that. They actually created wealth. And then some people were in the middle with it, and where, they dibble and dabbled a little bit, but they still saw returns when but long story short, I mention this game all the time because in a true simulation, you can literally use these real principles in your real life. So it just really went out to show, like, these aren't just principles that we need to learn about. These are principles we need to really practice actively in our lives daily and make it a part of our spiritual practice. Yep. So basically that's it. So my last slide is basically what's next is that, technology is going to be involved. You know, blockchain,
Uh-oh.
NFTs,
Uh-oh.
things are going to be things are going to be moving quickly. We have AI. We have the landscape of money is going to be changing, but at the end of the day, these principles are going to stay the same. So it's so important that we do the work right now to reclaim our spiritual connection to these technologies, so that we now don't keep being held behind, because things are going to quickly change for us and for our children. So that's it. Oh, the game.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes. Yes. The game's not for
All right.
sale.
Wait, Hold on.
We could play it as a shrine.
Can you guys?
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Hold on. Oh my God, this is so bad. I'm so sorry, you guys.
Wait, I think one. Yeah, there you go.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes, yes.
All right. Well, I'm back. So I ran to the kitchen and I brought my iPad to the kitchen and Ashley was on the bike. I told you she was Rakim with it. I told you she knew what she was talking about. She wasn't paying me no mind. Basically, she was like, could you just get that feedback off? Because I know what I'm doing. Let me turn my light back on. All right. Well, at least you guys know for sure this is live because nobody would pre-record this. I can't even turn my light back on. All right, fine. Whatever.
It's all good. No, you're good.
It's all good. We have fun. I hope some of y'all laughed at some of this, some of my antics running back and forth, whatever. Anyway, tonight's Tuesday Talk is just the beginning because it's a Money Matters series. Okay. And so it is my hope that, you know, you guys know I love us and I love who we are and know who we're not. And the richest person in the world was Mansa Musa. To my knowledge, he was still the richest person in the world. Okay.
Yes.
And so he gave out so much gold that it affected the local economies. That's how powerful we are when we work together. So, you know, people were taking notes. Please go back and take some more of these notes. And I really hope that this helped you guys a lot. This was so awesome. You know, and we have another episode with Senet Ashley next Tuesday, and we're going to be talking about government contracts. All right. So again, just like how she framed it at the beginning, this is for us too. This is for us as well. Okay. So I'm going to read some of the comments that I missed because when I was running back and forth to the kitchen so you wouldn't hear the feedback, I was on my phone and I couldn't even comment on the phone. Man, it was a mess, but it was funny. Okay, so there's me, guys. Can you guys hear me? Tashi says, yes, I lost my fear after coming into an $80,000 settlement and not being financially educated, and I ended up with nothing. I took it as a learning lesson and knew by the time it comes back, I will be financially educated and prepared. Yes.
Yes.
Echoing. Aunties. Thank you. Same. I had 80K a few years ago and nothing to show for it today. Yens are good. I don't know what yens are. Oh, yens. Okay, right. Great program tonight. Where can they buy the game, Senet?
As I said, the game is not for sale, but I said we could play it as a shrine.
Okay. All right. Cool. I missed that part.
And we could play it.
I want to give a shout out to Kapresh. He tuned in earlier on. Dua Hmt Ntr Seshat. Oh, for another great session. Thank you. That's Ashley, all her. Informative Tuesday. Thank you, Garrick. We are at the table. We at our own table.
Yes.
Yes, this was great. Dua Hmt Ntr and Senet Ashley Amara. Yes. Thank you.
Thank you for letting me share my download. It's just to inspire, to get us up out this, because the only, like you said, you know, Jesus isn't coming. You know, who knows when reparations will come. At the end of the day, we need to take over. You know, we need to step up. And we need to make our changes for ourselves, because that's all we got is us.
Period. And we don't even have all of us, because some of us don't want to be us. So all we have is the most of us, and that's plenty. Mm-hmm. Period. That's plenty. Okay. So I just want to thank you all for hanging in there with Tuesday Talk and learning so much. Right. Ma'atmo Maki said, period. That's right. We are all we need. Because if our unity were not the key to our success, then they'd have kept us segregated. There would have been no integration. Mm-hmm. Integration was destabilization. Martin Luther King said that. He didn't say, I never heard him say it was destabilization, but he regretted integrating because he realized what that did to us. Not to him. Martin Luther King, that's right. Martin Luther King was a young man when he was assassinated. He had done so much more than what we're taught. He was way more revolutionary than what we were taught.
Mhm.
And he understood what was going on in a way that we are not taught. We were just taught the nonviolent aspect of it. He wasn't like that for the duration of his very short life. And I have to shout out Martin Luther King. He's a Morehouse College graduate. I am a Spelman College graduate. That's my Morehouse brother. Yes. So come back next week. We're going to be talking about government contracts. Same time, same place. The flyer will be out in a couple of days, but it's going to be Senet Ashley again, right back here doing the dang thing. Senet, mo ma'at, mo money. I love that. We're going to leave it with that. Yes. Senet Ashley, thank you for such a wonderful and informative session. These are the Tuesday Talk is dope, you guys, and it's because I bring on the right people. I love it when I'm not the smartest person in the room. That's like my goal because I don't have to do any work. I have to do work all year round to get people to come. But for these 2 hours, I be chilling. That's why I was trying to get off screen. Like, go ahead, Ashley, you got it. But anyway, thank you so much, you guys.
Thank you for the share.
Contracts. My Atmo Maki says he said that, I don't know. He cannot wait for government contracts for next Tuesday. Oh, thank you. Derek said Tuesday Talk is batting 1,000 with the interviews. Thank you so much. You guys are the ones who make it like this. And Senet Cheryl is always in the back helping out. Trust me, Senet Cheryl does more than these comments. So I want to always thank her for that. So it is 10:52 on the East Coast.
Oh, yeah.
And so I am going to end our live stream. Senet Ashley and Senet Cheryl, please hang back so we can chit chat for a little bit longer.
Absolutely.
Much more to the family. I appreciate.
I love you all. Much more.
Yes. Much more. Mwah, that's right. Black excellence. I'm gonna leave you with that one. Shebe Ma'at, go forth in divine balance.